BRRR Explained. Step 2, Refurbish. And this is how I'm making BRRR work for me this year. So feel free to copy my guide for financial freedom. Are you ready to make BRRR work for you this year? Maybe you're working on a renovation project of your own. If so, then keep watching. This is a step-by-step guide just to help you on your renovation projects. And it's also based on my own experiences of just going through some renovation projects. So keep watching till the end. So before we actually get into the main bits of the video, this is actually part of my BRRR series. So there is a section that goes before this, which is the buy step. So if you want to go back and recap and look over on the playlist, go ahead and then come back. And guys, before we get into the actual refurbishment part and the main bit of the video, if you go back and just have a look on the playlist, it's part of my BRRR strategy and series. So you want to go back and just watch the video previously that I've done on the buy section, and that just sets the scene for this video. So point 1 is analysing the current state of the property compared to our estimates. So what I mean by this is if we go back to by the time we've actually gone through and completed the whole buy portion and we've actually completed on the sale, that might have taken a bit of time since we've originally done this scope of works based on our initial viewing. If you go back a step, we would have gone through the viewing and then you would have done a scope of works, which highlights everything that you think that you need to have done on that property. That's what bases your decision to put in an offer, for example. So we go back to those original scope of works, and then what we're going to do is when we first get the keys is look around and just make sure that everything is as we thought it was. And we're also going to walk around again with the builder just to make sure that we've got an idea the state of the property is as per what we've predetermined and what we've put down on our estimate. And anyone that's from the UK will probably know that's gone through a purchasing of a property recently over the past couple of years. It's quite a lengthy process. So sometimes things might have changed. It might have been changed in the season. Maybe you were purchasing in the summer and then it's gone through to winter and you find out that the leak in the roof is worse than what you thought. Just stuff like that. So we're just going to make sure that we analyse the current state of the property compared to what our estimates were, and then go back and make any adjustments that we need to make from that point onwards. So then this leads me quite nicely onto our next point. So next what we're going to do is have a nice plan of works of what we're actually going to do, what we're asking the builder to do. So we have our scope of works and we have our specification. So from those two documents, we're then going to have a nice lovely list of any necessary materials, the labour needed, everything like that, the tools, all stuff like that, the timeline as well, everything that's expected, and then what we're going to be going to do and how we're going to be doing it, and a nice safe method of working to move forward with the project. We can prioritise key tasks. We can also make realistic goals for the renovation and actually move forward with an actual plan of how we're going to get the property from A to B. So if we look at the example of the scope of works from my last project that I've done, where basically we converted or refurbished 2 one-bedroom flats. The upstairs flat already had use for being a residential one-bed flat, but the downstairs it was an old hairdresser's that was vacant, so it had commercial use. So the overall property had a mixed-use status. So, and then the ground floor we actually converted that from the vacant hairdressers through to being another one-bedroomed flat as well, so with the same footprint as upstairs. And literally all of this work and all of these documents that we're creating is going to come in very valuable later on, which I'll explain later on in the video, but it's going to be really, really good for us to use later. So yeah, we're going to use these initial times to do any actions that are going to require things like planning, building control, stuff like that, or even liaising with utilities companies for any other applications that we need to do. So number 1 is planning. And what I've actually mentioned this in my past videos, especially the playlist that's all about the mixed use to residential properties that are converting that I've done on the channel already. What we actually did, we negotiated whilst the purchase was going through that I was going to put in for planning to actually convert and change that, because over here in the UK the actual use of the building, so the ground floor needed to be changed from commercial use through to residential use. It was also in a conservation area as well, so any other changes that I needed to make on the externals to make the footprint work, the floor plan work, I put those all on one planning submission and popped that through, and that was actually going through in tandem with the sale as well. this planning approval was something as well that the lender wanted to see on completion as well. So I negotiated upfront with the vendors to allow me to put in for planning to make sure that we could get the planning, and yeah, and that all went through at the same time as purchasing the property. Another thing, for example, is your building control application. So if you're making any serious structural changes to the building, for example, if you are adding an extension or you are literally messing about with the structure of the building, you'll need to put in for full building control applications. And again, if you've got any queries on that, or you're going through that as well on one of your own projects, if you literally just give us an email, we can give you some advice or maybe offer our services on that as well. And another thing that you may come across as well would be any other applications that you may need to make to utilities companies. For example, Severn Trent, if you are adding an extension onto your property, on the property that you're looking at, maybe you have to do a build over agreement, but therefore you'd have to contact for example, Severn Trent Water or the utility company just to let them know and put in an application for that. And sometimes dealing with these utilities companies can take a while, so make sure that that is a priority task that you put on that is really high up on your scope of works, and that you get that done and put that in whilst you're doing other things. It takes a while to talk to these utilities companies. Sometimes they don't even get back to you for a while, even to initiate the application. So make sure you get that in as soon as possible. If you can, get it in ahead of time whilst other things are running in the background, and then you can come back to it so that you're not wasting time. And again, if you need any help on that, just drop us an email. We can give you some advice, or if you want to utilise our services on that, just let us know in an email. By the way, my name's Sabrina, and welcome to the channel. And I'm literally on here documenting my property journey and showcasing all of my ups and downs and any mistakes that I make, just so that you don't have to. And I'm literally on a mission to reach at least 1.5k subscribers. Thank you so much to everyone who has already subscribed, because we've smashed that 1,000 subscriber mark, so thank you so much. And if you are liking the content, please give us a like, then it pushes the video out to more people. Thanks. Self-promo over. And guys, if you are struggling to set out your scope of works or plan of works or specification, or literally just to have a document of things that need doing to the property that you can hand over to a builder for them to quote you on, we have got an example template and the link is in the description box below. So once you've got a firm plan in place for the refurb, you can then begin to strip out, whether you're doing it or whether it's part of the builder's works. You can then start to strip any redundant fittings, fixtures, anything that you're not using, wallpaper, all stuff like that. Get that all stripped out and all back down. And also you can get it all stripped down, whether it's back to brick. When you do back to brick, that is actually literally where you're stripping everything down to the bare brickwork is all exposed, and then you're starting again, replastering and doing everything again. So you can either do back to brick, where you literally strip everything away all the way down to the brickwork, all the plaster and everything's gone. That's if your plaster is literally all over the place and it's not smooth and it's not salvageable. You can go all the way down back to brick. Or if you can save some walls here and there, again, if you walk around with your builder, he can sort of lead you on that, because obviously that's going to save you a bit of money as well on the refurb. So there's either, as I said, a back to brick strip out, or there's literally just a strip out where you look and see what walls you can salvage. And when you're doing your strip out works, guys, it's really important, because this nearly caught me out on the last couple of projects that I've done, is to make sure that you've got a real firm plan in place for your waste disposal. So for the first project that we did, where it was a flat, it was literally in a community building. So yeah, they had really strict fly tipping rules. Anything you left outside, it would be classed as fly tipping. So we literally had to have a strategy for our waste disposal on a day-by-day basis. So I had a waste disposal guy that would come around each day whilst doing the strip out, and when we needed it, that would collect the waste daily, because obviously we couldn't have a skip anywhere. So that's what we did on that, because it was more cost effective. Whereas the last project that I did, again, waste management was a bit of an issue, because there was a narrow access to the site. So we had to really be strategic when we were getting skips to there, so that we could get that past, because there was literally cars blocking the entranceway and all sorts. So the skip van was finding it difficult to either collect skips or to drop skips off. So we really had to have a really good strategy with that, and that's what I'll be looking to improve moving forward. So if you do get a skip, obviously obviously you've got to make sure the skip guys will sort this all out for you. If it's on the roadside, you'd have to get a permit from the local authority, and again, this would all be worked out as part of the skip price. And if you do use somebody that comes with a van or something like that, a waste disposal company, just make sure that they are reputable, because if they do end up fly tipping your waste and something, for example, like a letter or something that can be traced back to you, you will be liable for that load, so you can get in trouble with that. So just make sure that you have a really, really good waste plan. This is something that I didn't give enough thought to, so I'm not sure if a lot of people do, but you need, when you are doing your first few renovations, make sure that you set aside a bit of money and you have a strategy for your waste disposal. And then after that, you can actually proceed with the main bulk of the work. So if you are doing any structural repairs or any structural things, this can take place, or the heavy duty sort of repairs to all the heating, the electrical stuff or things like that. So first fix electrics. So the main parts of the actual building works and the actual refurb works can take place then. And then what you want to do is, this is the difficult part as well. So obviously if you're replacing any windows and doors and things like that, you've got to time that well as well. Then you've got to really time when you're putting in your new windows and your doors, because you want to put them in so that you want to delay it enough so that obviously trades aren't coming in and bashing it and knocking it and scratching them and they're getting damaged, obviously especially with the doors and stuff. But then you want to put them in so they can get plastered up too, if you know what I mean, so that you get a nice clean finish on your plaster. So that one, you just have to sort of weigh that up. And what we did as well, we did a whole new thermal upgrade, the internal side of the external walls for the whole of the building as well. And that again is part of your sustainability as well, because with this project it was also run off electric, so that the new tenants came in and it was more energy efficient and it kept the heating a lot more, especially in the colder months. We upgraded the insulation on the internal side of the external walls, so all of the plaster boards that were put in were about 72mm thick, with the 12.5mm of plasterboard on the outside as well. So that just kept, so that it keeps more. So we had to put in the doors and the new windows in time so that they could, cut everything out literally so that it met flush with the new windows and everything like that as well. And then they could plaster over, and it just gives you a nice smooth finish. So that you need to weigh up as to how you feel when you want to put those in. So once all that's done, you can put in any of your kitchens, all of your woodwork, new skirting, new architraves, door frames, new doors, all stuff like that, your window boards, everything like that. And with your doors as well, you need to make sure and see whether you need to put in your fire doors. Obviously with flats above, all of the doors have to have the fire doors on FD30, and the strips that go round the frame as well. Next step as well, then you can look into your second fix electrics, second fix plumbing, tiling and stuff like that. So we're getting on to doing the nicer bits now, and then after that it's putting in your nice decorative bits as well. So you're getting the decorator to come in, rub everything down, rub down the plaster and everything, so it's a smooth finish for them to work on, and they're doing their painting, decorating, and then lastly you can pop in your nice lovely new carpets once all the work and all the dirty work and everything like that messy work's been done. Your new carpets can go in. And we also as well, I spent quite a bit more money on getting nice lovely sound underlay as well for the upstairs flat, just to cushion that and to provide more of insulation against sound transfer from the ground floor to the first floor as well. And then you can move on to tidying up your externals, doing any other little bits and pieces, and just a general tidy. And as I said at the beginning as well, the information, that early information that you have towards your costing and your estimates to your actual, that comes in so handy later on, because then what you're doing is, the more projects you do, you're building up this library of prices in your chosen local area for trades and just for cost of materials, for fixtures, for fittings and things like that. So you're going to be getting better and better for each project that you do of estimating that in the first place, and then it's going to help you to figure out your offer price even more better. So you can just see it just literally feeds back into each other, and the more you do all of these, it builds bank of historic information for you to then make really sound offers on in the future, future, because you know your past few projects have cost you X, Y, and Z for each of those trades and for each of those renovation sort of stages. So then you're going to be able to estimate a lot better for your costs when you see a potential property, and then therefore it's going to feed back into your offer as well. So you're going to be able to offer a better price because you know what your costs are with a little bit more certainty. So it all feeds back into itself, and the more you do it, the more you do each of these parts, it's going to help you out with everything else as well. And it's not all learned overnight. I'm still learning as well, guys. It's something that's going to build your knowledge so you become better and better at estimating the costs of your projects the more and more you go through with each project. So thanks for watching, guys, and if you're actually wondering how to actually estimate and cost to purchase in the first place, watch this video next.